What's up, Quadcopter fans? RunCam. Today I'm going to be doing a test flight with the MJX600 hexacopter. I have two cameras on right now, so that way we can try to get RunCam and Mobius to see which one's going to be working the best. So I'm going to have to go ahead and do a hand launch since the ground is a little bit unlevel here, so get a good spot to hold it so don't drop my hand. So one thing I have noticed about this quadcopter is it does slant a little bit to the right. In addition to that, it also has a little bit of throttle dropout. Now there's a throttle knob that you can adjust the throttle with on the quadcopter, which I haven't seen that much in the past, especially with these little minis. So this would be in the mini category. It is a hexacopter. So there's a 700 milliamp battery, and that's needed large in part because you got 6 motors to deal with as opposed to 4 like with your quadcopters. So yesterday I was doing a little bit of a test flight, but I didn't get to do that long. It got interrupted, so today is the first full flight. Hopefully I'll be able to do with this quadcopter. My first flight, I didn't have both sticks on the transmitter. The way that they made the transmitter or controller on this has got a faulty design. You actually got to stick the sticks in there and they have a chance of falling out. So what I did is I super glued those sticks in there. Hopefully that will make a difference of them not coming out in the future. So handle's good. Other than the little bit of the throttle dropout that I was explaining before, I'm not sure if that has anything to do with the little knob that you can turn to decrease or increase the throttle. It just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Other thing about this quadcopter too is that it has the high-speed mode, which is nice, but when in the high-speed mode, if you push over to the left, right, forward, or backwards too far, it'll actually do a flip. So there's really no purpose for it. It does have a flip button on it already, so there's really no purpose for 2, which is kind of bizarre. So it does have an onboard camera on it too as well. This is something that I personally put on there. You can purchase one specifically for this quadcopter. I'm just using a SEMA X5. I did have to rewire it, so the polarity was correct and matched up with the polarity on the inside. I had to look at some photos of this quadcopter with its shell off. So, but handling good. Hopefully we'll get a little bit of footage out of this. We're flying on a mountainside today, and it is fairly windy, so but very responsive. As you can see, it drifts a little bit to the right hand side, and that could potentially be from one of the motors was damaged whenever I received it. Looked like the wire had been beat up a little bit, so during the shipping process one of the motors was smashed into the styrofoam. So this one did come from China. It's fairly cheap from China, but took a while to get here, but glad I have it. This is the second hexacopter. I have the JJRC H20, but that's a nano. That one's really cool too. So you don't have to really pitch too hard with the 6 motors on here, or as aggressively as you would with the quadcopter, because just the slightest tilt with the 6 motors gives you a lot of control as well as speed. So this thing's very fast. This is just the intermediate mode, and it's flying as fast as a lot of quadcopters will in the higher rates. So I'm going to bring it over, take a look at the lights, see if we're recording in there. Looks like we're not. So the camera's, for some reason, it's tied into my flip switch. So hopefully we're getting a little bit of footage right now. I didn't check it before I took off. I'm just relying on the button, but And the interference with the controls also could be coming from that camera, because that's not a native camera. It's not supposed to really be on there. I've just put it on there myself, and the image quality is terrible anyways. But after this flight, I'll probably start strapping the RunCam to it. I just wanted to make sure it had enough lift power. I've seen other people flying this with GoPros on there, Mobius and RunCams, and it looks like it's able to lift them, but there's this little bit of throttle dropout that I'm speaking of. Looks like it's able to lift them, but it doesn't look like it's able to do it effectively. So these are small little gear-driven motors on this quadcopter, so they're very, very small. But with the 6 motors on there, it should produce enough lift. We'll get it right here in front of us. We'll do some turns here, take a good look at it. It doesn't look like the camera's recording right now, so. And hopefully we'll be able to see the difference between the RunCam as well as the Mobius. Bright, sunny day, plenty of light, so we should be able to get a good comparison between the two. So we're going on probably about 3 to 4 minutes of flight time. My first flight I got about 7 minutes out of this. So with the camera on board and the 6 motors, I'm expecting the flight time to be a little bit less than some of the other quadcopters, but it does have a bigger battery for one of the minis. You get to actually charge this with the 11 volt or 3S charger, 2S charger you can use on it. Still is a USB charger that comes with it, but it is fairly decent size for the class. So orientation can be a little bit tricky sometimes. You can't see the lights, the angle that I'm flying it today. I can see the lights underneath it, so it's fairly easy to see, but your blues and your reds are in your front, or blues in the front, reds in the back. Landing gear on this isn't the greatest. It's a little flimsy, it does tend to tip over. And if you're going to mess with this thing inside, be sure not to put it in the advanced mode, because if you do, you run the risk of this thing doing a flip, even if it's just sitting idle, which happened to me and hit my computer monitor, scuffed it up quite a bit. So do a flip to the right, well, front flip. So I guess our function button up there at the top is only for front flips. It seems like it's the only way it's flipping. And we can crank it into the higher speed mode to show off the flips. That's a flip to the left, do a front flip, back flip, side flip. So that's the only downside to this high speed mode, is that you almost lose it because it is tied in with the flips. So it doesn't seem like it's a benefit. It seems like it more hurts it than anything. But no, cruising around now, probably going on 5-6 minutes. Excellent battery life, excellent control, very responsive. I haven't seen what happens when it does lose binding with the transmitter, so hopefully it's not a flyaway like some of the other ones are. Hopefully it just cuts off, drops. My other hexacopter, the JJRC H20, that's a flyaway whenever it loses its binding with the transmitter. So it looks like we're starting to lose power because it's unable to lift itself from the drop. So we'll bring it in, do a hand landing here. There goes our lights. So this is the MJX X600 hexacopter. Very cool. Pick one up. Only about $40 or so with shipping. You can get them from China fairly cheap. Leave a link in the description. If you have any questions, put them in the comment box. Try to respond to them as soon as I can.